It is round 2 of this mini championship, this second season of the Exotic Racing Series. This is Tier 2, and we have our P1 and P2 in the championship starting from the top 2 here. It is CRL Portugal leading from Britain on the front row. This Hungarian circuit is 4.4 kilometers and 2.7 miles long, 14 corners, 6 to the left, 8 to the right. And Budapest is the city of baths. There are 450 public spas and bath houses in Budapest. That's the interesting fact for you today. It's lights out and away we go in Hungary. It's a pretty even start for the front row. And actually, Michi has got a good start compared to Britain. Portugal is defending on the outside. And Britain takes the inside line, but Portugal has better traction and exit speed going around the outside. So he's kept his lead, and the top 3 all stayed where they are. But Britain standing down the inside of Portugal into turn 2. Portugal will get the inside of turn 3 though. But Britain getting the better exit. And they're going to go side by side through turn 4. And Britain has taken the lead. An incredible move going around the outside of turn 3 on Portugal. And it's taken a lead as a result of it. And our third place in the championship, Jenny, has had a horrible start and dropped down to 20s. And Jordan spun coming out of turn 4, so he has lost a lot of time. But he stays P19 where he started from. It's top 3 breaking away slightly from P4 in Psycho, who got past Flava at the start of the race. So that's a position gain for the Renault driver. As with another yellow flag in Sector 2, that is Lucanoid, who also dropped from P15 to P18, and he's also had a spin once again in the middle sector. But it's all clear at the front with Britain leading the way from Portugal. Can the Williams drivers fight back in the next few laps? As we have a fight, that is Avalanche trying to go down the inside of Silas into turn 3, and he's pushed, that's not Silas, that's Lars. He's pushed Lars wide. And that might be a bit of Lars go wide himself and come back on track, and he's been squeezed by a one-tap hack, and he's spun into Nick. And that was all caused by the squeeze from Avalanche onto Nick, or onto Lars I should say, at turn 3. And Spicy is right on the back of Flava. He must have better cornering speed setup wise, and Flava goes deep into turn 12. And he may lose DRS here. Oh my goodness, Spicy sent it. That's a bit rude. He sent it into Flava in the penultimate corner, but Flava was really slow and struggling a lot. Oversteering instead of understeering. He's had to catch the car a lot in terms of backhand, and Moose goes down instead of Finksek in turn 12. That's an opportunistic overtake, and Moose has done it. Thinks he gets a better exit, and he's going to try to go around the outside here. Spicy is right on the back of Psycho. He's deploying a lot of his overtake. Psycho defends the inside line, but I think he's a sitting duck here. Moose, meanwhile, gets past Rico. So Moose has tremendous pace as Spicy completes his move on Psycho. We're going side by side for the lead. It's Portugal going around the outside of Britain into turn 2. If he can head there, he will get the inside of turn 3. And he's trying to do so. He has done it, but Britain is hanging around the outside of turn 3 like they did on the first lap.
Oh, no.
And Britain will get the inside of turn 4. They make contact slightly, but they both hold on to it. And Michi is looking at this, smiling. You two fight. You two waste your time.
What a move.
But Kriko now, Moose lost it. Moose has spun, and we have a fight between Finksik and Pucci. And Pucci almost got past Finksik because Finksik has to avoid a spinning Moose. So Moose, after making the move after P7, has now spun and dropped down to P13. So that's 6 places lost for the Racing Point driver. Meanwhile, Portugal definitely has more pace than Britain. We're on lap 5 of 35, but we're at the end of lap 5 of 35 as a matter of fact. And Moose then gets passed by Benny, so he's dropping back. But Portugal this time surely is going to make the move. Michi pits already. That's very early. Portugal is trying to go around the outside of Britain. Both of them on no overtake at all. Britain is fighting onto the apex. Portugal gets the swap of oversteer, but he will get DRS again, and he's done it. Finally, the pole sitter is back into the lead of the race. And we have another spin. That is for Avalanche. He has spun, and he's been passed by Koto Paxila. So the driver that started on hards is now up to P9. It's Koto Paxila.
Yep.
And now Benny is right on the back of Avalanche, so we have had a lot of pit stoppers. That is Michi going on to a set of mediums Krico going on to a set of hearts, interestingly. And also Moose going on to a set of hearts. Physic is on to a set of medium, so indeed a lot of variants from 2 stops and 1 stop strategy maybe. And Britton picks up a penalty. So that will relieve a lot of pressure on the shoulders of Protogirl. Or from the shoulders of Protogirl, I should say, as Moose also picks up a penalty for corner cutting. As Britton is onto a set of mediums. And he will come out behind. Well, this is a quiet battle here between Avalanche, Benny and Nick. All of them started on those fresh medium tires, and Benny gets a terrible exit now. What a switchback from Nick. Going down the inside of Benny. And they make side-to-side contact, but that was kind of fine. Because they were already side-by-side into the corner, and Nick makes that stick. And up into P7 on track goes the Mercedes. So Mitchie, by virtue...
the undercut.
Yeah, by virtue of undercut, he's gone ahead by almost 3 seconds, and the bad news for Britton is he's going to get held up here by Lars. Medium tires, and Britton, is he going to make the move here? Yes, he is. He's not waiting anymore. Lars is not defending. He's on 80% overtake. They're going side by side into turn 12, and Lars lets him go. Now Spicy, is he going to try to send it again to turn 13? That's again very aggressive and not... That is not very clean at all from Spicy. The door was obviously open, but that's basically a dive bomb. So Protogirl has pitted. Where has he come out? He's come right alongside Britton. So despite getting held up, Britton is still side by side with Protogirl. That's the effect of the undercut. And Britton is down the inside. They are literally pushing each other through the corners. And Protogirl has to leave the space. Britton leaves the Protogirl space on the inside of turn 3 as well. And Spicy is now right on the back of all of them. But Mitchie, by virtue of the undercut, is away by almost 4 seconds. But he himself has hit traffic. Wow. He's got Nick and Avalanche to deal with. And Nick goes so wide into the chicane. This is going to hold Mitchie up quite a lot. Nick is understeering here. Mitchie is trying to set him up through turn 9. He's going to try to get a better run through turn 10 and going down the inside of Taylor, but he's backed off out of it. That's clever from Mitchie because he doesn't want to spin or lose his front wing, but he does get to the inside of Nick through turn 12 and makes the move stick. Goes Mitchie up into P6 on track, but he is still 2 seconds in front of Britton, Protogirl and Spicy despite getting held up by Nick, and Avalanche pits. So that's very early for the medium tire runner. Avalanche has pitted after 8 laps. As they are going side by side through turn 3 for P2 on track. That is one tap hack who just passed Revenant, I think, for P3, or for P2 rather, on the medium starting strategies. And Krico, oh my goodness me, Psycho went around the outside of Krico through turn 3 and almost turned into the pass of Krico. But Krico is struggling on those hard tires. He's going to try to keep his head calm and cool because a lot of people will pass him. He needs to defend Flava behind him because they are on the same strategy. But the current medium runners, he's going to let them go. We're on to lap 10 of 35. This is traffic galore here in Hungarian. And Spicy is looking down the inside of Protogirl in the final corner, but he knows this is not an overtaking opportunity here. He can send it into the penultimate corner, but not into the final corner as Britton passes Nick quite easily. Going into turn 1, Protogirl is down the inside of Benny. Oh, they make contact because Benny turns in. And because of that, Spicy gets a free position. Thank you very much, says the Red Bull driver as he passes Benny with ease. As Mitchie also picks up a 3-second penalty, so the gap between Mitchie and Britton is now effectively 3 seconds again. And Protogirl and Spicy, if they can keep their nose clean and keep their car clean out of track limits, they may still be in an effective better position. Protogirl sends it down the inside of Nick into the chicane. And that is a very good.
That was move. A clean send, though.
Yes, no contact at all. I think he's gonna do it again, but this time he's more alongside, and Nick lets him go. So that was good.
And he had a big moment.
Yeah, and so did Nick behind him. Jeff, 15 minutes to run.
Oh.
Someone has lost it.
I think Flava just hit someone off.
Flava has made contact with Benny, I think. They're both struggling here, coming out of turn 1. As I was looking at the chat. So something has happened to Flava again. He was right on the back of Krico, I believe.
From one tap head to just save my battery and my fuel. Wow, that was very neat.
I got spun.
Who's the Ferrari?
I got taken out by Ferrari.
Who is it?
Meanwhile, they're fighting for P2 again. This is not good for either of them. because they're on the same strategy. They need to work together here between One Tap Hack and Revenant. And Revenant is going to try to go around the outside of turn 2. One Tap breaks later. Revenant, can he hold it around the outside? No, he's going to get a better run though. Coming out of turn 3. No, he's not going to try to go around the outside of turn 4, is he? I mean, he's trying it. He's going to go up the track and take the position away. As Koto gets shaky coming out of the final corner. Britain surely is going to pass him either into turn 1 or turn 2. They're fighting again between Revenant and One Tap. So this time, One Tap has the DRS because he was the car behind. But Baron, oh, he's braked very late as the AlphaTauri driver. But he's kept his position. And Britain now, surely he's going to send one here. He is. And Koto should let him go. And he does. He opens up the corner to let Britain take the inside line. He's an effective... Actually, as Moose is going side by side with Nick through the chicane. And he's made the move. So Moose has moved out to P13 after his shenanigans early on. And they are doing it again. No, they're not. Revenant has pitted. Finally, that's released Michi actually to pass One Tap Hack. And Michi is going to try to do it into turn 1. He's braked so much later compared to One Tap. But One Tap has the inside line and the apex. Michi has overtaken One Tap off the track. So he has to lift to give back the position. But he's still on the inside into turn 2. He's trying to squeeze One Tap out of the corner. And he does successfully. And both Brutal Girl and Spicy pass Kodo Maxila as expected on way better medium tires. And with yellow flag for one of the Mercedes.
Kriko.
That's Kriko. And One Tap is not pitting, nor is Pucci. But Michi surely is going to take the lead on track. He is the effective race leader. But he is down the inside of Pucci. And Pucci surely knows it. And he's not using his overtake. Meanwhile, we are going almost 3 wide behind them here. It's Britain going around the outside of One Tap. And Portugal also trying to do the same thing. But he's made contact with One Tap. And Spicy, can he take advantage of this? No, he's too far back. Portugal is still down the inside of One Tap. And Spicy is going to try to send it. One Tap closes the door. Spicy pushes the door open. And does it. That is crucial for Spicy because he's not going to get held up by One Tap Hack in the middle sector. Britain now doesn't have traffic, but he also doesn't have DRS, and Pucci has to pit. He can't hang on anymore. One Tap also has to pit. So they both have to pit before the rain comes, and Koto Paxila doesn't. And yellow flag reigns, that is Kriko once again spinning on a new set of softs. So his chance of scoring any points is completely out of the window now. The good news for Pucci though is Flava is really struggling. And Flava won't get DRS from Revenant ahead. Oh, Pucci needs to be careful though. He's literally pushing Flava in the final corner, but he's down the inside and Flava has no overtake. Flava won't defend that one. Completely different strategy. And Kriko sets the fastest lap of the race. I mean, that's a point, so he may get a point for that. Because if the rain comes, that might just be the fastest lap of the race. Can Pucci make the overtake on Revenant on the starting straight? Revenant is using all of his overtake. Pucci is trying to go around the outside. And he brakes later. He turns in. And Revenant pushes him wide. But Pucci taking a wide line. And takes P9 away. And Revenant spun. Revenant has spun coming out of turn 3. And he's had to go into reverse. And now rejoin the track in P14. So that's about 10 seconds and Revenant has lost that. Oh, penalty! A lot of penalties! Britain, Spicy, 5-second penalties for speeding the pit lane. And there's a yellow flag for someone at turn 1. That's Benny at the back of the field. So
it might be the case that they forgot that it's raining, so they have to brake earlier for the pit lane.
That is true. DRS is disabled. So Michi has come out 5.3 seconds in front of Britain. And Pucci is on softs and they make contact. Pucci didn't pit. For some reason, he decided to go 1 lap longer. And that has undone all of his good work in the first stint. He was absolutely... No, Benny! Well, he spun at the place that Luca Noi retired. Portugal now has 8 seconds, so from no penalty under dry condition, he's picked up a speeding and a corner cutting. And that means Britain, Spicy and Portugal, they all speed into the pit lane. They all went in the pit lane at the same time, and they all didn't brake. For one reason or another. Luca Noid is complaining about some random Ferrari. So if you record your race, that could be reportable. Psycho now. It's within 5 seconds of Britain. Maybe it's a podium for Psycho. Could he challenge P2? He's only 3 seconds behind Spicy. He needs to close down by 1 more second to somehow get a P2 as one of the Alpha Tauri spun. That's Revenant. There's a fight for P11. They're both wide. Farmer took it. Farmer took the final points. Lars has sent it into Jord, or whatever happened to them. They both went into Narnia in turn 1, and that means Flava has taken full advantage, and up into P11 goes Flava, and he doesn't have a penalty. So the final point may not belong to either Lars or Jord. It could be belong to Flava. Jord's the penalty, so Jord's chance of the final point is definitely out of the window here, and we have a spin for Lars. Lars has lost it, Jord has gone wide, the track is drying, people are spinning, people are going across the track, in the middle sector, Lars spins again, and Trico spins again, they're both spinning the same part of the track, and both the softs and the intermediates, none of them walk. On the disconnect is 3 wide, coming out of 10-12, Jord has lost it, Jenny's touched the Avalanche, Flava's path push going around the outside of the final corner, Avalanche has taken advantage into P12, Jord is pitting, and it's going down the inside. It's Protocol trying to pass Spicy on track, but it doesn't matter. And Psycho is definitely looking at the P2 now after all the penalties are calculated. We're on to the final lap of the race. It's Mitchie leading by 8.5 seconds over Brisbane, but it is an on-track fight for P3. Protocol goes around the outside of Spicy, and Spicy breaks too late. It's going to send it to Brisbane. They almost go 3 wide in turn 1. Protocol going around the outside. Spicy's almost lost it, and Psycho gets a better accident coming out of turn 1. And down the inside goes the Renault driver, but he backs out of it. That's very clever from the Renault driver, because he knows he doesn't need to pass any of them. But Mitchie has 3 corners to go to take his maiden victory in the Exotic Racing Series, but he needs to be very careful here. He just needs to coast. He doesn't need to push. He just needs to bring it home on dry condition on the set of intermediate tires. And Mitchie is now going to come around the final corner. And the house driver is going to bring it home, and Mitchie wins in Hungary. It will be Britain coming across the line in P2, but it could all change in terms of positions going across the line. Britain takes P2 on track, but he's going to drop back a lot because Spicy is going to go ahead of him, and Psycho takes P2 by virtue of having the least amount of penalties. Spicy takes P3 ahead of Britain in P4, and Prologo will pick up P5 and 6 points to add on to his 15. So that's good point total for our championship leader. Meanwhile, Kota Baxila, by starting on the hard tires, has put on the best strategy by going from P18 to P6, and he finishes in front of Finsik, and then Moose finishes in P8 ahead of One Type Hack, who will take P9, and Flava will take the final point of the race, as there are a lot of dramas behind them still. Drivers are struggling on these interchangeable conditions. Flava will come out of the final corner and take his first point of the season. So, after 35 laps in the Hungarian Grand Prix, it is Mitchie who started from P3 but undercut by 1 lap over, well, the majority of the soft starters, and that undercut means that he pulled away by 3 seconds over the rest of the field, and when it got to intermediate condition, he pulled away even further, and that is a maiden win for Mitchie in the Haas. Psycho, by virtue of having the least amount of penalties, will take P2 in the Renault. So that's 12 points for Psycho, which is quite good. They're going to elevate himself up in the championship a lot as well. Spicy will take P3 ahead of Protocol and Britain. All 3 of them were fighting from P2 to P4, but finishes in P3 to P5 because they all picked up a 5-second speed in the pit lane penalty when they pit for intermediates together. Kota Baxila from P18 to P6. Hard to intermediates, great strategy. Finsik in P7 ahead of Moose. One tap hack actually from P20 to P9, so good job for the Ferrari driver, and Flava picking up the final point. And that is also his maiden point of the season. Britain's 3-second penalty for track limits was later removed because one of the warnings he got during the 3-second penalty was a squeeze by Protocol. So that means Brizan takes P2 in the Hungarian Grand Prix, and he will be the championship leader at the end of round 2. We'll see you next week in USA. Goodbye.